Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, November 27, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know whether that's been like your year recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at what the U.S. National Hurricane Center is showing on their 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. We can see that there is no new tropical cyclones that are expected during the next 7 days. They have nothing highlighted, no code yellows, oranges, or code reds at all. As it relates to the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we have numerous cold fronts that are stretching all the way from northern section of North Atlantic all the way down into portions of the midsections right here, so to the north of the main development region, as well as the north of the Greater Antilles. And we can see it even better on the visible satellite images. We can see the clouds associated with that first cold front stretching all the way from the northern section of North Atlantic all the way down into the northern portion of the main development region, as well as the other set of clouds associated with that other cold front stretching all the way from northern section of North Atlantic all the way down into portions of the Bahamas, western Cuba, and even spilling into section of the Gulf of Mexico and the Yucatan Peninsula. We can also see, if we look even closely, some low-level patches of clouds moving from east to west right there to the south of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And these clouds are definitely going to be bringing some amount of rainfall to sections of Jamaica on Tuesday. As relates to what was predicted in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for Monday, it was stated that yes, sections of the Windward Islands would be receiving some amount of rainfall, but Jamaica was being forecasted to receive not much in the way of rainfall at all, stretching all the way from the east to the west. But what ended up happening? The visible satellite images were posted on our Twitter page, Facebook page, Instagram page, and TikTok page. And if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make some minor posts that are not posted here on our YouTube page. And we can see that at 4:36 p.m. we had some amount of clouds bringing some isolated showers to sections of St. Mary, sections of St. Andrew, maybe sections of St. Catherine, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, even sections of southeastern Westmoreland gotten on some amount of overcast skies and some isolated showers. And this does indeed highlight the fact that even though the models aren't showing rainfall, there can be some isolated pockets here and there, just to show that these models aren't always 100% accurate. And we can see it even better on the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down. Some of these clouds making their way into sections of Portland. Even in the late evening hours, we had some clouds coming in from the east northeast to sections of eastern St. Thomas. Definitely Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth got in on some amount of rainfall. And if we take a look at the latest infrared satellite images, we can still see some low-level patches of clouds as represented by those gray shades. Definitely bring some overcast skies to sections of St. Elizabeth and Manchester. So if the moon is going to be out, it's going to be out a bit late in those spots. We can see that the Cuban Doppler radar images are showing that there isn't much in the way of rainfall taking place at all. We don't see those greens or yellows that represent light to moderate or even heavy rainfall. What we do see right here across the north and east, as represented by those greens, yellows, and reds, is what we call ground clutter. That is a lot of glitching on the Cuban Doppler radar images, and we can have that from time to time, which is why we hope and trust that the Jamaican Doppler radar images are fixed very soon. As it relates to the temperatures right now, we can tell we have 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by 3 a.m. on Tuesday, the temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Kingston. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map is showing, I see it showing, this is about what? This is 18th on Tuesday. So about, let's say, 7 p.m. on Tuesday, these are the temperatures that we're expecting. So we can see some yellows, some slight oranges. I don't know, all of that is representative of 1 to 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. I know the normal temperatures for the month of November are about the same as 88 degrees Fahrenheit. And when we take a look at the thermometer, the equivalent for 88 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 30 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 33 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Tuesday. As relates to the dry air map, we can still see that by the key on the bottom, the dry air is represented by the yellows, oranges, and reds and whites within those reds. And we do see a lot of dry air still to impact sections of the Caribbean. Lots of dry air surrounding Jamaica right now into tomorrow. As relates to the Saharan dust forecast, this map is showing 2 p.m. on Tuesday, and we do see that slight pocket of Saharan dust as represented by those light brown or beige colors, but that's on the low end of the scale in terms of Saharan dust. Majority of the vigorous plumes of Saharan dust is right there across sections of Africa, across the eastern main development region. All of this that we're seeing right now is definitely dwindling, and Jamaica is in the clear for 2 p.m. on Tuesday. As relates to the wave forecast, we do see that surrounding Jamaica we have a lot of blue colors. And when we take a look at the key on the bottom right, the blue colors are representative from anywhere from about 1 meter wave height to at least 1.5 meter wave height. And that's because the winds are not going to be that strong coming in from the east or maybe the east northeast, averaging anywhere from let's say 10 to at least 15 knots, maybe even gusting up to 20 knots. And we can also see that all of that air is going to be piling up across sections of some southern parishes where we have those darker shades of blues. That's where we're going to be having those low level clouds, maybe, getting heavier, maybe becoming some mid level or even some upper level clouds. Who knows, maybe some cumulonimbus clouds. Then bring some amount of afternoon rainfall to sections of especially southern Jamaica at those times. And with the upper level winds coming in across Jamaica from the northwest, that's definitely going to be favoring more of that rainfall for sections of some southern parishes. As it relates to the rainfall forecast, now let's get into the meat of the matter. These are the maps that we're looking for the most. So we can see the blues that represent rainfall on the GFS model. This is valid for 6 a.m. on Tuesday. And we see the blues across where? Sections of St. Thomas and Portland. When we take a look at the Euro model, we see something similar. And we know that we're looking for consensus. We're looking for agreement on both these maps. And when we see this agreement like this, the chances of actually happening are much higher. So we're definitely in for some amount of morning rainfall across the east, skipping ahead to about 12 p.m. So we see that we still have that rainfall across section of St. Thomas and Portland, even getting more robust. There could be some isolated flash flooding taking place in some spots, especially with that on and off rainfall in the east. If you live in the east, please ensure that you bring your umbrella or your rain gear with you. We can see the GFS model showing something similar with the east, but some of those blues are starting to spill into sections of central and western parishes. Skipping ahead to about 3 p.m. now, we're starting to see more of that blue color stretching all the way from the east to the west across the island, especially across the south. So definitely sections of St. Thomas, Portland, St. Mary, sections of Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, and Hanover could get in on some amount of rainfall for Tuesday afternoon. And when we take a look at the accumulated precipitation forecast by both the Euro and the GFS models, we see that there's definitely some amount of rainfall in store for the island, especially across the eastern section of the island. The Euro not so robust with the rainfall, only showing up to 0.13 of an inch of rainfall, while the GFS, so the Euro was showing 0.13 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS is showing up to 0.23 of an inch of rainfall. We can see those yellows. Who knows, we might get in on some amount of isolated flash flooding taking place across especially sections of eastern St. Thomas and Portland. And we're indeed grateful that we're going to be getting in on this rainfall. We're in the final month of our rainy season, November. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get before we step into the dry period from December through to April. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see where we indeed have some amount of clouds bringing some isolated showers to sections of Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. You can also still see that we have some amount of clouds bringing rainfall to sections of French Guyana, Suriname, Guyana, eastern Venezuela, sections of Costa Rica, especially northwestern Panama. You can also see some of that heading into sections of Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, northern Guatemala, Honduras as usual. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we can see that we didn't have much taking place across the northeastern Caribbean today. Majority of the Leeward Islands are in the clear. Maybe some isolated pockets of rainfall to the south and north of Puerto Rico. But look where we see majority of the rainfall. To the south of Guadeloupe coming in from the east. So definitely a section of Guadeloupe tonight. Dominica, Martinique, maybe section of St. Lucia. Taking a look at the Barbados radar, we can see that rainfall heading into section of St. Lucia as we speak. Some of that rainfall to the west of Barbados right now. Not much happening right now across Trinidad and Tobago, but we do see some rainfall right there coming in from the east. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall that we mentioned earlier on the satellite images coming into sections of Belize, northern Guatemala, sections of Mexico. You can see some rainfall passing to the north of the ABC Islands as well. If we take a look at the temperature forecast, we can see that tomorrow has a lot of above normal temperatures still in the forecast for sections of the Caribbean. Majority of the Gulf of Mexico, Florida, the southeastern United States will be having a lot of below average temperatures. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, all of the Saharan dust that we saw stretching all the way from Africa into the main development region is now dwindling. Majority of the Caribbean should be in the clear, even though we see some slight beige colors. That is nothing to worry about. As it relates to the wave forecast, we do see that majority of the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, should be averaging anywhere from 1 to at least 2 meter wave heights, especially to the south of Jamaica where we see those purples. And that's because the winds are going to be on average coming in from the east, averaging anywhere from 10 to 20 knots, 25 knots wherever we have those yellows to the south of Jamaica, across the southern Bahamas coming in from the northeast over there. As relates to the rainfall forecast, now keep in mind that this map is showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. We do see the greens and the yellows that represent even up to zero point 0.5 of an inch of rainfall. Definitely going to be affecting sections of the central and southern Bahamas, sections of eastern Cuba, eastern Jamaica, sections of the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. Belize definitely going to be in for some amount of rainfall starting now into tomorrow. Northern Guatemala, Honduras, sections of southeastern Nicaragua, Costa Rica as usual, Panama, sections of Colombia, definitely sections of eastern coastal areas of Venezuela, Trinidad, sections of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados, sections of Guyana as well. Now we do see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chance of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.